person in my life. When I was in my mess, I became very ill, and I had to go to the hospital. And while I was at the hospital, the doctors didn't know what was wrong with me. And when they came back, they told me that I had something wrong with my liver, and they had to operate immediately. And but when they put the camera in there to operate on my liver, they found out that that wasn't the problem. That I had a pregnancy in my tubes, and I was pregnant for so long. The baby was in me so long in my tubes that it had deteriorated and poisoned my bloodstream. And I had to have 2 blood transfusions. And they removed part of my uterus and my cervix and told me I would never have children again. And a year later, I have a daughter, and her name is Pearl, she's 5. But I'm sharing that because when I came to and I was in my mess, the doctor asked me, did I know God? Because there were no medical or scientific reason why I should have lived through that and still been here. And my mom and my mother's pastor's wife was in there, and they was praising God and having church and stuff. And my name is Anna Thomas. I'm 33 years old. I just turned 34 the other day. I'm sorry. I just turned 34 years old. I was born and raised in Newport News, Virginia. For the last couple of years, I reside in Portsmouth. I grew up in a very dysfunctional home. My parents were alcoholics and addicts, and I endured a lot of sexual molestation as a child. And at the age of, my grandmother was there, and she was very elderly, and she did the best she could in that situation to raise us. And I didn't listen to her and take heed to the things that she told me because I felt like she wasn't my mother. So I encourage you to please listen to your grandmother or whoever your caretaker is, who mean you good. And so I didn't listen to those things, and I became pregnant at a very young age. I got pregnant when I was 13 years old. And I dropped out of school. I was introduced to drugs at 15. And I was in and out of jail. I've been in and out of jail for at least 16 times. I was finally convicted in 2005, and I spent 3 years in prison. And while I was in prison, I thought, well, I found out who God was for myself because I went through a very trying time in there. And I met my husband while I was incarcerated and got married. And I came home and I thought that I was going to live this perfect life, because he had arrived. I was free. I was rescued and everything. But what I really didn't realize that he wasn't God. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't save me. He couldn't really deliver me. But I had took my attention off God, the things that were being taught to me. And when trouble came in my life, I went back to what I was familiar to. I went back to drugs. And I felt, and I'm supposed to share with y'all when I hit my rock bottom. But I feel like you can always go further when you're hitting your rock bottom. If you don't die, you can always hit another bottom, because I think death is the final thing, right? So what got my attention was that my husband said, if you really want this marriage to work, I need you to go into a program. And that's how I came to Youth Challenge. And since I came to this program, my husband has walked away from me and filed for custody of my daughter. And I only stand here because of God's grace and mercy, because he gives me the strength to persevere, to keep going. And I just really want to encourage your children. I can't express it enough. No matter what, listen to your parents. Don't, and it's easy to say, but I'm telling you, run to Jesus. Pray, if it's nothing else, but Lord, help me. I don't know which way to go. When you feel like you can't trust your parents, go to God. Go to God. And if you listen, if you're quiet enough, you will hear his voice. Stay in school. Stay in school. And if you feel like somebody is violating you or introducing you to drugs or whatever it is that you know don't line up with what you're being taught in school and being taught in church, please tell someone. Help is there. Don't keep it inside because it will make you sick and make you do things you shouldn't do. And the verse that I stand on is Philippians 1:6. I'm just smiling because I heard it today. But that's my stand on verse. It's be confident in him. Be confident in he who has begun a good work in you will complete it into the day of Jesus Christ. And I stand on that verse because I know God has plans, good plans for me, and I feel like the enemy has tried to destroy me from day one. And I just hope y'all stay encouraged and stay in school. Amen.